In this next video, you're going to see my journey from conception to completion of my chisel case. So I hope you enjoy that journey. I'm fixing to do a three-part series on how I built this chisel caddy or case or whatever. I had gotten into carving, this relief carving. I don't know if that'll show up or not, but that sort of thing. And I bought some neat Swiss chisels, and one of them came in a little box that you just sit it down. This little stand that you just sit them down in. But these shorter ones that came in the set, all of these were very uniform. These handles are not. And when I tried that over here, one would stick down too far and one not far enough, and blah blah blah. But anyway, what I'm going to show you, as you know on my channel, this is not a how-to channel. It's just I'm sharing my experience with you. You know, as I learn about these things, I'm just somewhat new to a lot of these techniques. I did some carpentry before in my life, but trying to get all the corners to match up exactly and all that kind of stuff. I'm still learning how to do that. But it's coming along, you know. I've had a couple of years now to mess with it. So, but anyway, what this three-parter is going to be about, and this is going to be part one, is how I built this thing and the trials and tribulations. I started with one idea and then I had another idea, but it just shows you the evolution of how this came to be. So I hope you enjoy it. Here's part one. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to take some of the cedar that I've been working with, because I have it. And it's going to take 11.5 inches to properly space 10 of those. Okay? So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to glue up. This is not quite tight enough, so I'm going to have to join this edge and glue it up. And then as you can see, it'll fit rather perfectly there. So I think my first step is going to be to cut me a couple of 11.5s and piece them together. And then I need to do the same for the front and the back too, although they won't be carved. The middle two will. Alright, so let's do some joining and gluing here. Okay, what I'm going to do now is bring these down to 12 inches, well 13 for the front, 12 for the inside, and get them all to size. Then we're going to join the sides and glue them up, and let's get started. I think this will start to make a lot more sense once I start putting it together and see how I'm going to construct the cavities and stuff from the inside. Now I'm going to join these edges, get them smooth enough so we can do a little glue up. Here we go. Not too long ago, maybe about 6 months ago, I started getting into carving. So since then, the more I've carved, the more I've realized the type of chisel that I needed. And File, P-F-E-I-L, makes some neat chisels, or so I had read. And sure enough, I'm loving them. But here's my dilemma now. I gotta have a way to carry them back in two. I don't need two of everything in two different places. I just need me a little satchel like thing, a little piece of wood. I got a set of these from File, and I'm going to somewhat do this design right here, and I'm going to make two pieces that will hinge together and then close and have a handle up here. And then when you go to lay them out, you can lay them down like this, and you can reach up there. It'll be like a little stand. So that's the goal. Now, what I've got to do, I created, where are they? I went through 2 or 3 ways I was going to make this, and the first way was going to require doing like a sandwich and then carve out places for all the tools I'm going. By the time I do 20 of those, maybe not. So that's when I decided to use this design where I just drill holes. And so, turns out I won't need but 2 of these instead of 4. What we'll do is we will use this and cut some 1.5 inch pieces. And we'll need 2 on each wall. 1 here, which corresponds to this bottom piece, and it'll be drilled part way. You don't want it to go all the way through because you want it to catch. And then we'll need 1 up here that goes all the way through, allowing you to do like that. So, we did our glue up on this from 2 smaller pieces. There was not a piece like thin like that I could do easily and get pieces. I don't want it to be so heavy and thick and bulky, you know. I want it to be kind of light. Anyway, so let's take these pieces here. Let's cut them out and drill them out. Alright, now for a little sanding. Alright, and hallelujah. I think we're done. With the sanding anyway. Okay, the next part of our task is to drill a series of holes in these dudes here. Now, what I did is I marked 1. And then where's that other one? I made sure I had them in the direction they were going so that when I glue them, they'll go like that. Now, what I did is I marked 1 set at one end where I want the hole to be drilled, and I did the same. Then I took that and used it as a template to go to the other side, mark it. Okay, then I came back across, found the end, squared up the edges and clamped it, and then went across there drawing lines. Okay, now what I'll do I'll show you over at the drill. I've set up a backstop where I don't have to figure out where halfway to, I'm going to split that right down the middle. That'll already be set. All I'll have to do is run it along and catch the line. As long as I get the line, I should be pretty close to centered. Alright, let's drill those things. Okay, now what I've done is I've set up my backstop. I had to put something under here to keep the tear out. Still, it's not going to be perfect, but it'll help. So I'm using this as a sacrificial backer to help with the tear out. And that catches me so that when I come down, I am halfway across on my mark there. So, turns out that these are 7/8 of an inch holes. Alright, here we go. Alright, I won't put you through the others, but suffice it to say we got 3 more of these to make. Okay, so we started by gluing up our back, our outer thing. Cut these, or drilled them rather. Now, what I've got to do, unlike these, the same machine must have made these because they all come through at exactly the same. Okay, now these, no rhyme or reason for it. Unfortunately, the one that I measured was that one. Turned out to be the biggest one. The rest of them just, it's not, and I really don't want, you could make it where they just automatically ride on the bottom of that, but I don't really want the blade touching the wood, really. And not like that. These are just the same, they're very uniform. These are not. So, all that to say, I've got to come up with a way. I know I can fill part of that cavity in the back, and I can make it fall wherever I want to. So I guess I'm going to have to do some of that. But anyway, the next step then will be to glue this and this and this and this. Now, before I do that, if I did not put something at the top, these would just fall out, just like that one's trying to do right there. But here's the problem: if you put a lid, a top on there permanently, you can't put them in or take them out at all. So that lid, I think what I'm going to do is run a route right along here, and just having the lid that when I close it, it just catches. It's just a piece of wood that'll just fit there, and it'll just catch. That's the plan anyway. Alright, so that's where we are at the moment. Let's see what we need to do next. Okay, I'll be back. Well, I have gone around and around with the design of this thing, and up to now, at first I had thought about making this layered and then carve out for each piece. But that would make it too unique. You may add to your collection, and I like to keep my chisels in a certain order. So I began to realize that might not stay in that same position for always. So then I came up with the idea of kind of copying that little set that I had and make it where you could stick your tool down into the, and it support it like so. But then that complicated the lid because you're going to have to take it out this way, meaning if there was a lid here, because this will eventually be 2 halves of a box, or 1/2 of a box. It'll fold over. So, I was in one of the big box stores yesterday, and I saw this thing for screwdrivers or whatever, and it was plastic with a magnet behind it, and it had little V's. And so you put a screwdriver in there, and anything that would fit within that V, and it would hold it for you. And a light bulb went off, and I'm going, whoa! I've got a bunch of these little. See if I can get one to show you. One of these little, I don't know what it's called, neodymium or dimium or whatever. Anyway, I've got a good many of those. So what I'm going to do is take this and cut it in half. And the reason for that is when this fits in here, that'll be too tall for it, but half will be just right. So, before I do it though, I'm going to cut just ever so slight indentation so that fits down in. Okay, then what will happen is your tool, when you open this, in other words, they're not going to fall out on you. You've got to have some way to anchor these. But how easy just to reach up there and get the tool you want. Boom. Put it right back where it goes when you go to get another tool. So at this point, I think this is the way I finally decided to do this. And I'm going to go forward with this some, and we'll see how this works out. I think I'm liking this idea. I think this is the one. Alright, so let me square this board up to the dimension it's got to be, because we eventually got to, once this is glued down and this is glued down, we got to put end caps on it, and then a top cap on that, because this will act as the bottom cap. Alright, let's do some work. What I'm doing right now is drilling. I'm going to cut this piece in two, and it'll fit where the chisels can lay over on it. There'll be a magnet right here, so I've got to put just a ever so slight indentation to receive that magnet so I can glue it in and it be somewhat stable. So, here we go. I'm just centering these over the previous hole where I thought I was going to be putting the chisel before. I'm just repurposing this now because I have the other right here. This makes it ready to put a top on the case without playing tricks. I don't know if you can see this or what. Little indentions. I had already done the other side. Now we'll split this right in half.